All right, so I come across some pretty crazy tools every so often, and this is one that I kind of wish I knew about that existed, I would just say years back. That's kind of, I didn't even know they made this. This is a cool one. It's essentially a 5-ton hydraulic electric jack with an included impact driver and an air pump. And actually, it's fairly light. I haven't put this sucker to the test just yet. It claims it can go up to 5 tons and essentially 17 inches worth of lift, but we're gonna find out. I don't know about the 5-ton part, but we're gonna find out. What do we got here in the box? What do we got? Our most common 21. What is this? And a 17. That's gonna be for our impact driver. And this is actually pretty cool too. Interesting little concept. I typically around like a full-size impact driver when I travel, especially with the big trailer. So if I can have all in one, this is gonna kind of change it. Well, change my packing procedure up just a little bit here. Extension cord for our power. Looks like it's gonna be extremely long. We'll check that out. As well as our gator clips there for our battery. Or we can convert it over to cigarette lighter socket. And got ourselves some Michael Jackson gloves. I'm gonna definitely be wearing those. That's the best part of the kit right there. So looking at the pump and jack combo here right on the top, I'm assuming the U and the D is a up and down. Got ourselves a little flashlight, and then that's gonna be the air compressor there. Ooh, didn't even notice that. Got ourselves some little compartments. Oh, there's our hose. I'm guessing on the other side, we've got attachments. Yeah, look at that. And our power supply right in there. So what do we got in here? That's gonna be for the air compressor, little toolbox. Nice. I'm just gonna slap power right off the back of the T-bucket here. I don't even think the battery on this thing is fully charged, but it'll get us enough. This is what I'm most interested in. So, up. Oh. It's actually relatively quiet. It's like playing roulette though. You don't know where it's gonna stop, where the ball is gonna stop. It's just gonna keep going here. I would say it's not fast, it's not slow. It's gonna be decent for what it is. But man, how high do you really need to lift your car? Still going. Look at that. Oh, I'm dumb. See, that's why I should probably have read the instructions. You can even extend it even further. Vevor claims that it's got a 17-inch lift height. And I'm only looking at 11 as of right now. So, it's fully maxed out that I'm aware. How much further does this go? Ah. Oops. So now we can check it. And we're still at 13. So maybe I'm missing something, or I misread something here. Or maybe it considers the entire length from the ground up to be 17, but that technically wouldn't be the lift height. So I'd say it's safe to say 13 is gonna be your max on this kit here. Let's put her to the test. We got our little flashlight on. We're gonna turn our air compressor on, and we're gonna lower it. And does it work all as one? It does not. It seems to be either or. So let's turn the compressor off. All right, now it's coming back down here. I thought it was. Oh, very, very slow because there's no weight on it. All right, so just to make it clear for the keyboard queens out there that like to jump down the throat on product reviews, this was a sponsored review. It was listed at the beginning of the YouTube video at the top here, but essentially you got the product for free just to kind of test it out, make life a little easier instead of carrying around an 80-pound jack. But it took about a minute for this to go all the way down here. I'm gonna turn it off. And I say what we'll do is we're gonna throw it under the T-bucket really quick. It only weighs about 1,600 pounds, which is, you know, very, very minimal. And then we'll progress up from there, lift up the Duramax, and then head out because I have a tire to change and actually put this kind of to a real world experience test there. So I'm sure there's an orientation on how this is actually supposed to be placed underneath the car. So we're gonna slap it right there, and then we'll adjust that other way. Kind of get it to meet
with the vehicle's frame. Come on. We'll set it right there and hit that button.
We're gonna lift this sucker up. All right, so I walked away for about 3 minutes or so just to kind of let it do its thing. It's a little slow lifting up, honestly. It's not gonna replace like a rapid pump jack, but that's really not what it's going for. It's just enough. Lowering wise, it's actually pretty fast. We're still sitting at about 30 seconds or so to get that wheel on the ground. Again, it's that weight that's pushing down on that hydraulic jack there, but I want to start moving up. I want to start lifting up some heavier items, considering this is only about 1,600 pounds. We'll move over to the Goblin, and then we're going to do a 3/4 ton diesel and see how that works out. All right, now I said real world. Let's put this sucker to the test. Essentially, it's a tandem axle trailer. It's roughly about 24 feet long from the front to the back, and we're looking at about 7,000 pounds. So instead of using the cigarette lighter outlet in the truck, I connected it right to the diesel's auxiliary battery right over here. I had to squeeze this sucker in. Look how tight that is. I found that the extension that we get here wasn't quite long enough for what we're trying to really accomplish here in this small little area. Since this tire is so flat, let's see if we can actually pump it up all the way instead of jacking it up and then taking it off just to pump it. So that's on there. Hit the pump, and we'll see what we got. All right, so we're about 3 minutes in, little quick time check, pressure check, still sitting under about 20 there. We're still low, so we got a bit of a ways to go. I think we're pretty close here, almost 50 pounds. Go ahead and turn that off. 6.5 minutes. As for the impact driver here, unfortunately, the trailer is some off size, so the 17 and the 21s are not even going to work on this setup here. I really wanted to test this out, so we're going to have to go back to the garage, put that one to work there. So I flip-flopped the jack to the other side of the trailer and then reconnected it back over to the truck battery here. So 7,000 pounds, 3.5 tons. Being on an uneven surface, it is a little bit sketchy. You can tell the unit is actually designed to be used on concrete, all that other stuff, but I don't typically, when I need a jack, I don't have any concrete to work off of. It's typically in the dirt somewhere. So we're lined up. We're gonna turn it on, see what happens. So I've had to call off the lift here. We've been running it about 60 seconds or so, and we're about an inch or so off the ground. Not, well, maybe a little less than an inch. And as you can see, our support blocks that we're using are obviously sinking into the dirt. Now this is a real world experience here. Now typically I use just a pump hydraulic jack, or pump jack, put it on the blocks, lift it up. But seeing what's going on here with this thing, it's definitely not designed for any off-road use whatsoever. Now, I never said it was advertised to do, but just wanted to try it out. So we're gonna cancel this. All right, so our off-road test didn't quite go as planned, and it is a bit of an unrealistic scenario, but for my particular situation, considering everything comes in threes, all my blowouts have been off-road on the side of an interstate somewhere on an embankment in the dirt. And while this didn't really perform very well in an off-road scenario, it's not really intended to. On the bottom, you can see the steel plate where the ram puts most of its support on. So that kind of led to the issue that we were having, where this would kind of tank forward. This is really for flat surfaces, laterally put underneath a vehicle, and essentially to be used on concrete or a hard floor. Now, I did try to actually put it underneath the Goblin on the front, which is our go-kart build we're doing right now. And while it didn't fit, because it actually has a 6-inch default ram height there, it fit perfectly right under the cradle in the back. So anything that's going to be lower than 6 inches off the ground, this is not going to fit. Now, what really surprised me is I took it over and I put it underneath my Pontiac, which is a low-profile vehicle, which is going to be typically your standard height. And it fit perfectly. Now, there were a few issues that I would like to see redesigned, which I'll go over that here in a second. Just some small things that would actually make this unit so much better. Now, I did slap it underneath the 3/4 ton diesel, and while it was rammed up all the way at 17 inches, it is a stock truck. It's not lifted. And for that unit, we would typically need to get something that it lifts at a minimum of 20 inches just to be able to hit the frame rail there. So that didn't quite work for us as well. So I've set up a few of my shop jacks here, and as you can see, the ram is fully extended on the Vevor hydraulic one, as well as the pump jacks here. We have a 3-ton low profile long reach, as well as a 3-ton standard reach jack here. So really at the end of the day, this isn't really looking to replace the heavy duty. This is more of a throw it in the back of your truck, your trailer, your car. It's an emergency. And it needs to be used on essentially a concrete driveway. But it's a great unit to really have around, especially in tight places in the garage. I actually really did enjoy that aspect of it. But it isn't going to replace your big heavy duty items. Now, if you're not looking to go out and spend $200, $300, $400 on a shop jack, then again, this is going to be a perfect unit considering it's under 89 bucks. Now, with that said, you can see with the ram extended on this one, about 17, and then the low profile long reach, I'm looking at about 25 fully extended on that. And then as well as on the 3-ton standard, we're looking at about 20 inches of reach on that here. Now, all these can be extended by putting a few blocks, bricks, whatever you choose underneath, and then, jacking up your vehicle there. Now, one of the things that I really want to talk about that I would like to actually see a design change is I would like to actually see a button on the actual cable that comes off of the battery that goes to the jack itself. I don't really necessarily enjoy reaching underneath the vehicle to turn this on or off. I kind of find it to be somewhat awkward to be reaching underneath. So a button on the cable would be perfect there. So in conclusion, I really enjoyed actually kind of going over this and putting this to work. It is an emergency unit. Again, it's not designed to replace the quick jacks, the rapid pump jacks, your shop jacks, or that $200, $300 system you may have floating around. But it's not designed to do that. It's super light. It's an emergency use on the go. I also found some interesting uses for it around the shop by putting it underneath a workbench, and I was able to relocate a workbench because I had no help to do it. Put your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think about this. Would you use an electric hydraulic jack? I mean, even if it filled that small niche in the shop, what else could you do with it? Who knows? Could you use it as a hydraulic ram for your pipe bender? There's a lot of things you could probably mod this thing to do, but overall, it's the unit that you throw in the back of the truck, in the trailer, trunk of the car for emergency use. But hit the like and subscribe if you want to keep up with some of the changes going around here, some of our builds that we have going on, and I'll see you next time.